Hello and a very warm welcome. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, depending on wherever you're dialing in from. Welcome to What's New in Washington DC release webinar. It's part of Live on ServiceNow webinar. And I am Smriti Gupta, Outbound Product Manager with Unified Employee Experience Team. I'll be your host for this session today. And with me, I have Pooja Gupta, who's a senior outbound product manager with Unified Employee Experience team. She'll be supporting me with the Q&A for this session. Some safe harbor notice here for any of the forward-looking statements or roadmap items that we may put forth in this session. Please do not base your purchasing decisions on any such statements. So this webinar is part of Live on ServiceNow umbrella of events. We conduct many such webinars and other events that you could join us with. So you could see the QR code on your screens. Please feel free to get plugged in for our future events. Some housekeeping for this session. Um, Even though we'll be saving time at the end of this session for Q&A, please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A panel, and we'll be resolving or trying to answer a Q&A along the way. And the presentation will be shared, and the recording for this session will be shared on community. So the SLA is typically 7 to 10 days, so please stay plugged. We'll be sharing the link of where you could find the session's recording and slides in the chat. After the event, you'll be prompted with a short feedback survey. This helps us improve and provide better quality of content for upcoming webinars. So please do provide your valuable feedback. The agenda for today's session, we'll be starting with a brief of context for what is Employee Center. Then we'll move on to the new capabilities that we have with our Washington DC release and Feb 2024 release. Towards the end of the session, we'll also cover a live demo on a live instance for these capabilities. So let's deep dive right in. So for Employee Center, if you think about Employee Center, it is the actionable digital front end that we are creating for organizations, not just for service delivery like IT service delivery or HR service delivery or workplace service delivery and so on, but also for informing and engaging employees with personalized and actionable communications and for driving their productivity. When you are building Employee Center, the experiences are not just limited to the web portal. You could build a consistent experience across other channels as well, such as mobile, Microsoft Teams, emails, kiosk, and so on. Essentially, Employee Center is designed to increase self-service and to drive employee engagement and to improve employee productivity. When it comes to the portal aspect, our goal is to help organizations transition from siloed portals to modern intranet experience. Now, most organizations currently have different portals that do not communicate with each other. So there's a separate portal for IT, there's a separate portal for HR, there's probably a different portal for point solutions like it could be Workday or Ariba or SAP or something else. And again, there are multiple different places that the manager needs to go to get their task done, or the employee needs to go to these different portals to make their request, and so on. And what we really want to do is we want to help organizations move away from those siloed portals to an enterprise portal, or probably a step ahead towards a more modern intranet. This could design your employee portal to be multi-department in nature and act as a single access point for many different applications or many different portals that the employee may have to end up going to. Now, when we talk about Unified Employee Experiences Roadmap, we usually devise our capabilities and enhancements around three major themes. The first theme is intelligent omni-channel experience. This is all about creating that foundational experience that is not just modern, but also omni-channel. So it unifies the portal experience with the mobile app experience, or even the experience with conversational interfaces like Microsoft Teams and Zoom. And essentially, capabilities clubbed under this theme aims to increase the self-service. Now, we also want it to be intelligent, especially with our Gen AI investments. So we want to make sure that the experience is leveraging the right AI capabilities. The second theme is employee communications. Whether we are talking about a multi-department service portal or whether we are talking about an intranet use case, organizations still want to be able to engage employees with actionable communications that help them take the right action at the right time. Now, at the front end, this ensures that communications are easily available from an employee standpoint, which is engaging, personalized, and actionable for them, but at the same time, from an author perspective, it is easy to create and manage these communications. The third theme is about actionable and personalized intranet. Now, these are all the things that it would take for moving from a service delivery portal to a more employee destination site, or even an intranet portal. So, how can we consolidate all the different experiences on all these different systems that an end user has to get their task done and thereby improve productivity and actionability of what they are getting on Employee Center? So, our capabilities like Approvals Hub or Enterprise Search are all part of this third theme. Let's deep dive into the Washington DC and Feb release capabilities. So unified employee experience products follow the store release. So that is quarterly releases. The family release includes the last store release before its launch. So essentially the November 2023 features have been trued up to the Washington DC release. However, if you have already got Washington, you will have to separately upgrade the Feb 2024 store apps to get the Feb 24 release. Since we have already talked about August and November 2023 release features in our other webinar, What's New with Vancouver, we'll be focusing on the Feb 2024 release features in this particular session. So if you're looking to understand more about the November 23 release, we'll post that link in the chat for that previous webinar that I'm mentioning about. Now, we have talked about the three roadmap themes. The first roadmap theme that we talked about is intelligent omnichannel experience. For the Feb 2024 release, we have got two major capabilities under this theme. And before we get started with the integrated experience and service feedback, I would take a very short pause here. Is there anything from the very brief employee center context uh, uh, that I need to address again or probably clarify again? Pooja, is there any comments or questions from the Q&A panel?
No, we're all good now. Thank you, Smriti.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's get started with the integrated experience and service feedback. Now, in general, for the feedback collection mechanism, there's a wide spectrum of what organizations can achieve today. On one end of the spectrum, we have got long form of surveys, which are complex feedback surveys with large set of questions, and these are typically done a couple of times in a year or even lesser than that. An example could be voice of the employee survey, which is usually done at only once a year or only at certain times of the year. Then we have the pulse surveys at the middle of the spectrum, which is comparatively shorter in length. These are tied to a specific process or completion of a milestone. For example, once a new employee is onboarded, the regular check-ins that are prompted at the end of 7 days or 30 days, and so on. Finally, we have the continuous feedback, which aims to capture employee feedback in the moment while they are still hands-on on any of the experience touchpoints on the portal or still raising a service request. Let's talk a bit more about the concept of continuous feedback. It is an always on feedback mechanism that can capture the employee feedback as they are experiencing the portal touchpoints or service workflows in the moment without breaking their flow of work. So let's say if I'm looking for some resource on the topic page and I'm unable to find it, I should be able to provide on the spot feedback. Or if I'm facing some challenge in requesting a catalog item, I should be able to share my thoughts as soon as I finish raising that request without being redirected to a separate space. Then the challenge that we usually face with yearly feedbacks is that they may fail to capture the real-time picture of the end user experience since the recency effect comes into play with such short frequency. The portal admin may want to capture the aha moments or the wow moments as soon as it happens. And these once in a while feedback surveys often struggle with low participation rates. However, with continuous feedback, this ensures that users are nudged to provide their feedback as close to the experience touchpoints as possible. Thereby, this increases the overall participation rate. Most organizations also struggle to quantify the value that they have been realizing with their employee centered portal deployment. So, there are no clear metrics that the leadership can chase to understand if their deployment is actually working well or not. So essentially, these consolidated feedback reports or dashboards provide metrics which the organizations can track and work on for better decision making related to the portal. Now, what are all the use cases where continuous feedback could be leveraged? Portal admins could capture feedback on, let's say, they've deployed a new feature like news capability. They could seek feedback in such cases, or they could nudge users to provide feedback on specific portal pages like homepage or even a service workflow, like raising an IT request, and so on. With continuous feedback, organizations could essentially improve their portal experience and find ways to unlock employee productivity and satisfaction. So we all know that feedback is critical for continuous improvement. Let's consider another example use case. Suppose as the portal admin for your organization, you have been investing in building a specific page, or let's say a microsite or a new topic page experience. You want feedback on that. This particular feedback would be referred to as experience feedback within our system, which captures the employee feedback on the overall portal experience. And if the service owner are trying to make submitting the request easier and they want to get feedback on whether that process was actually helpful or not, this would be referred to as service feedback, which captures employee feedback on the service workflows. So essentially, with the integrated experience and service feedback capability, we have delivered a bunch of widgets, which we'll work through shortly. And some of these widgets are pre-placed in the Employee Center Pro portal, and some others can be placed at different pages for multiple different journey steps to capture the continuous feedback. Just a call out here, integrated experience and service feedback, it's an Employee Center Pro functionality. So you would require an Employee Center Pro license to be able to use it. So let's talk about experience feedback. Now, there are two main widgets to highlight for the experience feedback. First is the drawer widget, and then we have the in-page widget. The drawer widget that you can see in the screenshot with the give feedback name is a configurable widget that captures generic user feedback across all the portal pages. So clicking on the drawer widget will open up a modal window with pre-configured feedback questions such as I like something, I don't like something, and I have a suggestion. And the drawer widget captures the feedback comments of the users as well. And to capture the additional context around the feedback, it records the page URL parameter along with the feedback comments as well. So for example, if the user has provided uh, feedback by clicking on the drawer widget on a news center page, so it will record that page URL that such feedback was provided for the news center page. The second widget is the in-page widget, which the admins can place within specific portal pages to capture feedback specific to that page. In-page widget can capture feedback rating along with the feedback comments as well. So the rating can be configured as 5-point numeric or 5-point star or a 3-point emoji scale or a 2-point thumbs up and down scale. And we have also added admin configurations to make the drawer widget not available for certain pages because there might have been some other way of capturing feedback on that particular page, like an in-page feedback widget. For example, in the bottom screenshot, we can see that we have added an in-page feedback widget on the home screen to capture feedback on the newly designed homepage. Or, for example, content authors might want to capture employee feedback on a newly designed microsite. So they can add an in-page feedback widget on that page, and they can retire the drawer widget from that page to avoid feedback fatigue. So your end users are not prompted to provide feedback again and again. That could lead to feedback fatigue for them. So all of those configurations are available. Then the admin as well as the user can anonymize the feedback responses. So the admin can either configure all the responses to be captured anonymously by default, or they can configure it to be defined by user opt-in, where the user can decide if they want to submit their response anonymously or not. And the good thing about this is that the feedback being received is not just limited to one particular table, but it will be populated on our experience feedback dashboard, which can be used to analyze the feedback as well. Now, the in-page widget that we just talked about, that is placed out of the box with the taxonomy topic pages with the February release to capture topic page specific experience. So once it is configured, as soon as you open that particular topic page, there will be a feedback widget on that topic page to capture the ratings and comments. The feedback rating scale can be configured to be like we have talked about 5-point, 3-point, or 2-point. And likewise, the responses can be anonymized either by the admin or the user. Now, similar to the experience feedback, we have the provision to gather feedback during or after service request fulfillment directly from the portal. Now, in the entire workflow of service request fulfillment, admins could capture user feedback at any pit stop, be it at the topic page or catalog page or request page, or even at the very end once the request has been raised or submitted via the in-page widget. This is designed specifically for seeking continuous in-the-moment feedback over a service workflow, and it is intended to improve that service workflow without having to conduct time-consuming feedback activities like some organizations conduct one-on-one interviews or focus group discussions to seek feedback on whether their service workflows are working well or not. So setting up the service feedback can be done via easy configurations like you could choose which question to display, what are the trigger conditions where these feedbacks would be triggered, and so on. And the responses similarly can be 5-point, 3-point, 2-point, and the responses can be anonymized by admin or user. And finally, we have the dashboards in place for the service feedback analysis as well. Now, many organizations have this process of seeking feedback over emails where the user gets redirected to a different URL on the browser away from their email inbox. Now, while email is one of the top channels to nudge users to provide their valuable feedback, we kind of wanted to bridge this disjointed experience for the end users where they may not like getting redirected away from their flow of work. I've just opened my email to check my emails, and now it's prompting me to redirect back to the browser, and I might lose my chain of thought. So we wanted to get rid of that disjointed experience. So we are not shipping any new email notifications, but the service admin can take their existing email notification, put in a script that we have provided, and then at the end of that workflow, uh, if they have configured to seek feedback, they will see this nudge of give feedback that is visible on the top left over here in the left screenshot. And the user can go ahead and provide that feedback within the email itself. So instead of sending a separate email, like take a survey or tell us how was the experience, it's there within the email notification, existing email notification itself. And even within that email, this is actionable. So this link would not redirect to go to the portal. Users would be able to provide their feedback response within the email itself. And we support the same set of functionalities in terms of anonymous responses and tracking this across the channel. So if you have, for a particular request, if you have already provided feedback on the portal, you would not be prompted to provide feedback on the email, and vice versa. If you have already provided feedback on email, on the portal, you would not be prompted to provide feedback, right? So we have kind of enabled cross-channel feedback tracking. This is also to ensure that we are avoiding any kind of feedback fatigue here. Now, to allow service and experience admins to analyze the feedback received over a period of time, we have built experience and service feedback dashboard to report the aggregate rating for experience and service feedback over a period of time. One important note to call out here is that you would need to have a survey reader role in addition to the portal admin role. And this dashboard could help you analyze the aggregate feedback rating in the last 6 months with the provision to drill down the responses by channel, that is the portal or the email. Then you could analyze the average feedback ratings for all the different feedback definitions that have been configured. And finally, the analytics for the experience drawer widget. There's also service or experience feedback rating breakdown by the pages. So there's a lot of analytics that we have provided on this particular dashboard. And the good thing is with our May release, we are coming up with more enhancements to make it more intuitive and insightful, right? Then the main value proposition for this feature is obviously it enables organizations to continuously improve their portal experience and unlock the employee productivity and satisfaction rate by prompting the in the moment feedback nudges, right? And just to reiterate myself, this will require an employee center pro license, right? Now, for the experience feedback, all the deployments will have the drawer widget enabled, whether it's upgrade scenario or you're installing it for the first time, or you'll have the drawer widget pre-placed. However, the in-page widget, that will be only pre-enabled for the new deployments. If you're upgrading, you would need to manually place these widgets on the portal at the designated locations via the page designer. For the service feedback, admins will need to enable and complete the full configuration upon upgrade or new installation, as they don't come pre-enabled. And finally, for the service feedback in email, admin would need to download the Outlook actionable message plugin as well. Now, this has been a very, very quick overview of the feedback functionality. But the good thing is we have already delivered an Academy session on this. So if you're looking to deep dive into this particular functionality, uh, we'll share the link in chat, and this is your opportunity to deep dive into that particular Academy session. And we have already shared the Q&A, whatever enablement resources you would need to understand this functionality further, right? I'll just take a quick pause here to see if we need to address any Q&A or any other feedback. Pooja, any thoughts here?
No, I think we're good right now. We have quite a few questions open. I'm answering them in the Q&A.
Awesome. Let's proceed ahead. Moving on to the next capability under intelligent omni-channel experience theme, that is dotted line relationships. Now, the concept of dotted line relationships is common in matrix organizations, which may have all the program managers in one organization and all the product managers in one organization and all the engineers in one organization. Like, I'm just providing an example scenario here. Now, the program manager, the product manager, and few engineers may be working on the same product, right? And they would have a direct line reporting structure. So the program manager or the product managers, they would have their own direct line reporting structure, which may be different from their dotted line reporting structure. And the dotted line reporting structure is what has been formed together at a product or a project level, right? So organizations having such mixed hierarchies of direct reporting structures and dotted line reporting structures could benefit the most from this capability. At times, organizations may need to map many to many relationships on their org chart to account for multiple manager relationships like matrix managers or dotted line managers or supervisors or even temporary or transitioning assignment managers. This was pretty much a limitation with the org chart previously, which has only been supporting modeling a single manager for a user, right? And the absence of capturing these dotted line relationships resulted in other business units like HR or operations not being able to drive any experiences using this data. So dotted line relationships is again an Employee Center Pro functionality. Now, to capture the dotted line relationships within your EC Pro portal, the first thing that we have enabled is the ability to define what those relationship types are. Based on industries and geographies, the terminology can vary for everyone. Someone may call it a supervisor or shift supervisor, while other customers may call it a line manager, or other organizations may call it a line manager, and so on. And then the admins have the ability to assign dotted line managers to employees. This model ensures openness in the way relationships are defined so that we can support a many to many dotted line relationships where an employee could have multiple dotted line managers or indirect managers, as well as multiple employees could indirectly report to a secondary manager as well, right? So once the admin has captured the dotted line relationships, how does it appear for a user in Employee Center Pro? Since this is an Employee Center Pro functionality, the first thing to observe in the employee profile UI on your EC Pro dashboard is that this information is reflected in the My Teams widget, where the reporting manager or direct manager is visible along with the dotted line manager. And this widget will show the dotted line reports of the users as well, if any have been listed. So on this screen here, we have example of Beth. She has direct manager as Joanna, whereas other manager as Gail. And she has three direct reports, who people who are reporting to her directly, and four other reports, people who are reporting to her indirectly. Now, one thing to call out here to avoid any kind of confusion is just because, let's say, James is reporting to Beth directly and Kelly is reporting to the same manager, Beth, indirectly in a dotted line relationship, that does not mean that James and Kelly are co-workers, right? So, and the next part is how the dotted line relationships are depicted in organization charts, which is a really important capability when you are trying to search for employees and visualize their reporting structures. Now, the first thing to note here is that all the dotted line managers of an employee will be incorporated in the org chart of that user, as shown in the right side screenshot here. And the second thing to note is that the reporting count now includes both the direct and the dotted line reports or the other reports as highlighted in the left side screenshot. Now, the key value proposition offered with this capability is that it allows organizations to track and build visibility on the matrix teams and kind of utilize dotted line relationship mapping in other experiences and workflows as well. Obviously, it requires an EC Pro license, and this capability will come out of the box with EC Pro upgrade to the Feb 24 release. The admins, however, they will need to configure manager relationship types and assign dotted line managers for a user. Moving on to the second theme, employee communications. And the first capability we are going to talk about in this theme is enterprise video communications, right? Now, enterprise video is essentially a video which is internal to the organization so that it is not posted on YouTube channels or any other public channel. It would typically authenticate users by requiring them to log in to access a repository which is hosted by an enterprise hosting platform. So, this capability really solves for the organizations who want to communicate with their employees through a library of enterprise video content, whether it's using video as banners and making their websites more engaging, or even when it comes to hosting live events like webcast and town halls and so on. And obviously, for the employee side, that opens the door for them to get a richer communications experience without having to log into the enterprise video platforms again and again. So, we have built a framework which will allow enterprise hosting providers to integrate with Employee Center Pro. And we have shipped an out of the box pre built integration with Vbrick, which is one of the leading enterprise video platform. This would include an integration with the authoring platform. So, what you see in the back at the top left screenshot is Rich Content Editor. And you can see that the video provider is integrated directly in the Rich Content Editor. So, as soon as the content author selects Vbrick in the provider field of the video component, they would be able to open the video library for reference as seen in the right screenshot below. So the content authors can actually search for these videos from the library natively instead of having to go to the platform and get the link of the video and bring it back to ServiceNow, right? Similarly, if there are other integrations with other enterprise video providers that you have built, it would have a similar experience. So instead of selecting Vbrick in the provider field, you would be able to select any of the other enterprise video provider integration that you have integrated. And then you would be able to see the video library and select the particular video that you're trying to embed and so on. Now, like I've already mentioned, that along with the pre-built integration with Vbrick, we are creating a framework here that enables you to build integrations with other enterprise video platforms like Microsoft Streams or Brightcove. Let's see how this framework works. On the top here, we have got the application layer of Employee Center, where we have built the configurations that are required to embed videos in places like microsites and employee news via the rich content editor. So that content authors can embed these videos in employee communications easily, and then employees can access the videos in the right way without having to log in again and again. And then the configuration layer basically determines who are the registered providers and authenticates the authors. And there's the modeling of flows and subflows, which is basically the logical piece of what piece of data or information we are accessing from the external system. And then it also contains the configurations required, right? So we are also configuring the actions that are associated with this integration, like there will be a search action or there will be a browse action. So these capabilities actually deliver the video content natively within the content publishing rich content editor interface without you having to redirect to a third party interface, right? Or third party application. And then, of course, for integrating these flows, you would need the integration hub for building the integrations with the provider. Now, we have done this in partnership with Vbrick to make sure this whole integration is available. If you're looking for any other provider, you could follow the same method. In such cases, subflows for authentication and video search or browse, they will need to be created using the flow designer. And these subflows will call the provider APIs to return the authentication and content data. Additionally, integration properties, they will need to be configured, including setting up a connection and an HTTP connection. right? So these properties will be utilized by the integration framework for connecting to the video provider. When it comes to adoption guidance, the main value proposition for this feature is to deliver more efficient and engaging employee communications using the pre-existing videos from the enterprise video hosting platform. Of course, it requires Employee Center Pro license, just like all the other employee communications capabilities. And it is available with upgrade on EC Pro application and content publishing application. And to get the pre-built integration with Vbrick, organizations would need to install the February 2024 Vbrick application from the ServiceNow store. I'll take a very brief pause here. Are there any questions from the dotted line relationships or enterprise video communications or any other thoughts that we should be addressing, Pooja?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate one thing on the video communications. The video is not hosted on ServiceNow. It is hosted on the video provider. The Vbrick integration is what we have built out of box, but you can, like the framework is ready to use this for other video providers like Stream. So you can custom build it. We don't have a roadmap timeline for those integrations, but the framework is ready to for you to custom build it. So like these are the steps that we have over here that you would follow.
Awesome.
And one more thing on the dotted line, there was another question coming in if these information are maintained in ServiceNow and who and how that will be maintained. So these in the dotted line relationships are currently maintained manually in ServiceNow. We are looking into building some pre-built integrations with other HCM solutions. So you can maintain the dotted line relationships in those HCM solutions if you want to, and then do and use an integration to bring those relationships in. But currently it's a manual process in ServiceNow.
Awesome. Let's continue. Moving on to the rich content editor enhancements for the Feb release. Most of our communication managers or content authors must be familiar with the rich content editor interface released as part of our November 2022 release. So, as more and more organizations have continued to adopt and use this very easy to use drag and drop editor, we have continued to get all kinds of requests for more control and flexibility. So we have come out with some minor but very impactful enhancements that we are shipping with this release for the rich content editor. So we are providing a clear button to instantly remove all content from the canvas. This is essentially a very minor enhancement, but very impactful in case you want to redo some of your content, right? And we have also come up with enabling pasting of formatted content from other sources directly onto the rich content editor. The third minor enhancement is ability to align images and video elements left, right, or center, right? So again, all of these are minor enhancements, but they really are very impactful in the content creation process. Another important and impactful enhancement with this release is we are exposing and allowing editing of HTML and CSS source code within the rich content editor to allow for more granular editing. And of course, the content authors could choose to access source codes at an element level or for the entire canvas. So, for example, we are talking about a particular news article, right? You could access the source code for the entire canvas or even for one particular element. So, for example, I have a column element there, right? Or a tab element. I could directly access the source code for that element or for the entire canvas. So we wanted to make it super easy for our communication managers and content authors to author the microsites. And again, this requires Employee Center Pro license. And while you're working directly with HTML or CSS codes, organizations need to exercise caution since it could potentially be destructive to allow a communication manager to edit your HTML or your CSS for the canvas. With that thought in mind, we have made this property that the admins can turn on or off. So some organizations may not want to give their content managers access to the code, and that's entirely okay. If that's the case, they can turn that property off, and then the source access will not be visible on the interface. Now, quickly moving on to the third roadmap theme, actionable and personalized intranet. With this, we are talking about approvals hub or tasking experience enhancements. So before we dive deeper into these enhancements, um, just a refresher on the approvals hub capability. So approvals hub capability was shipped with our June 2023 release. And since then, we have shipped pre-built out-of-the-box integrations for approvals hub with Concur and Workday. With this release, we are shipping minor enhancements to this capability to streamline the approval process and make it easier for both the admin and the approvers. So first and foremost, this is something that is available for both Employee Center and Employee Center Pro. Now, e-signature is available on the My Task page. So this platform capability is already available, but the e-signature wasn't really tied down but the e-signature wasn't really tied with the tasking experience on Employee Center. So now admins have the ability to configure and enable e-signature on any of the task types on Employee Center. And the approver will have the ability to approve or reject an approval by re-entering their login credentials, as has been shown in the screenshot. So think of this as an additional security step in the process in order to ensure that the approver is reviewing the approval and is sure about what actions that they wish to take. You would need to install the approval with e-signature plugin, which is shipped with platform for this capability. The next enhancement is specially targeted towards organizations who are on Employee Center Pro and have been using Approval Hub capability. So we are shipping out of the box filters for Concur and Workday tasks. So earlier this year, we released the integration with Concur and Workday to pull in tasks such as expense reports, time off, and many other use cases into Approvals Hub. What we are doing is shipping out of the box filters, which allow the approvers to pick and choose which of these tasks from Concur and Workday would they like to filter and act from within the Approval Hub user interface. Admin can, of course, enable or disable these filters from the backend. So while we are building a unified tasking experience, the number of tasks increases exponentially for an end user or an approver, making it difficult for them to keep track of all of them. So out of the box filtering would now allow to filter out what kind of workday task or Concur task you would want to see and which ones you don't want to see right now. So it will make it super easy to find the right thing at the right time. Again, these are minor enhancements and how to activate it, it's pretty easy. I'm not going to deep dive into this. Moving on to the final enhancement for this particular release, SharePoint connector enhancements. So first and foremost, admins have asked for more flexibility in terms of permissions that ServiceNow has while setting up the SharePoint connector. Now, we can allow admins to set up the permission to be read-only or the full control for the sites that they index. So it offers more flexibility in the permissions. And then earlier, all the content that was there in SharePoint was sort of being indexed when the admin hit that index button. Now they can actually index a page or they can index a URL. And if they want to exclude some specific subsites within that main path, they can exclude that from indexing. So all of this can be done during the configuration steps. So this will really make sure that just the right content is being made available on the Employee Center Pro, right? And the last thing to highlight here is that earlier there was no check for whether a content is published content or in draft, and it would index all of that, which of course did not lead to a good experience. Now, by default, it will only index the published content, making sure that all the unfinished documents or files that are in draft or have been retired are not being surfaced up on Employee Center Pro site. Um, with this enhancement, we are expecting the admin to have more flexibility in terms of permissions and controls on what should be indexed from indexed into ServiceNow from SharePoint. And this would require EC Pro license and also a SharePoint connector that could be available from ServiceNow store, right? With this, let's quickly move on to the demo part, the most awaited piece of this whole session. I'm just gonna take the screen share again. I hope my screen is visible, Pooja, the Chrome one.
Yes, looking good.
Awesome. So when it comes to the Feb release features, you could see once you have upgraded the Feb store release um, and you have configured all the feedback configurations, you would be able to see a give feedback drawer widget here, right? And once you click on this particular drawer widget, you would see this modal window that has three pre-configured options. I like something, I have a suggestion, and I don't like something. I can click on any of these things, like I like something, I can provide a feedback comment and choose whether I want to share my personal information or not. So what does this personal information actually mean? When I hover over here, it says that your personal details like country, department, title are not going to be captured with this feedback response. So let's just make my response anonymous and submit this, right? So I have I can see see the success message here. We have heard you. Awesome. And I can see that this drawer widget would be visible on all the portal pages that I have. So I can provide my feedback on any of the portal pages, right? Then let's say I move on to one of the topic pages, the IT topic page, right? I'm looking for any particular resource. I'm utilizing all the filters to look for it. I'm somehow not able to find this resource that I'm looking for, or the overall experience. I'm not really very satisfied with the overall experience. I see a feedback widget here. Do you want to give feedback? Did you find what you need? Rate your experience. Let's say I'm not satisfied with the experience. So it was bad. I'll rate that bad here and I'll provide this is not what I was looking for. And just share my feedback here, right? Do I want to make my response anonymous? Let's just leave it at that and then submit. So we have heard you. So my feedback has been recorded. This is the in-page widget on the topic page that comes out of the box with our February release, right? Let's say now I actually look for the item that I wanted to request for. So I came looking for a MacBook Pro. I select this particular item here. I check the details that this is what I expect this to be. Click on order now. Verify the order confirmation and check out. Now that I have made this particular request, I can provide my feedback. on how this overall service was for me. I would say I came what I was looking for and I actually found it. This process was pretty easy and seamless. So I'm going to provide a good rating here. This is awesome. And submit. Now I have provided my feedback, or the portal has been able to capture the aha moment or wow moment just as I experienced it without me having to redirect to any other separate space. This is awesome. Coming on to the back end of how these feedback configurations can be configured. So you would have under the Employee Center tab, you have the experience feedback table, and under that, we have the feedback configurations. This table could define the one-time configuration for all the feedback features like the success message or the privacy information and so on. Coming on to the feedback definitions table. This is where you will configure all the different types of feedback that I've just shown you. So it could be an experience feedback for the experience portal, or it could be a request feedback. So the service request that I've just raised, I have configured the request feedback for that. So it's a type of workflow based feedback, right? I can change the question or the rating from here, and I can add the label for additional information, right? And I can add the trigger conditions when this particular workflow feedback would be triggered. So all of these configurations are available to you. If you're looking for more details on the admin experience, I would highly encourage you to access our Academy session that we have done. Just one last piece for the admin configurations here. So we have the experience service and feedback dashboards that gets populated, right? So as an admin, I may want to analyze the feedback that I have received over a period of time, or I may want to deep dive into any of the particular feedback, for example, a request feedback or an experience feedback. I can do that from this dashboard here. Awesome. Moving on to the next piece of information for the dotted line relationships. So let's just say example scenario. I am Beth, right? And I have a number of dotted line relationships within my org structure. I can check all of those. So my admin has already configured all the dotted line relationships that are applicable for me. And I can check all those relationships on my employee profile here. So if I go on my overview tab and I check my team tab here, I can see I have two managers. One is direct manager Joanna, other is the dotted line manager or the other manager Ramon. And I have seven reports, seven people reporting to me. Out of those seven people, three are directly reporting to me, and four other are reporting to me indirectly. So I can see all those details here. If I click on the org chart, I would be able to see the how this looks on the org chart as well. So let me just log into this instance once. Yeah, this is the org chart that I can see for myself once all the dotted line relationships have been configured. So I can see the other manager link is here. If I click on it, I'll see the manager to whom I am reporting indirectly. I can see the manager to whom I am reporting directly here. And all my direct and indirect reports are shown on these tab here. The total people reporting to me are 9 reports here. 5 are reporting to me directly, 4 are reporting to me indirectly. So I can see all those details here on the org chart. With that, we have covered a very brief overview of our Feb capabilities. I'm just gonna pause here to see if we have any questions from the demo piece specifically. Pooja, is there anything we should revisit or address?
Now, I've been answering questions on the Q&A panel. So, folks, if you would just see the Q&A panel, and if there's any additional questions, please put it on the Q&A. We will look to wrap up on time, but many questions have been answered there. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So I'll just take a couple of minutes more before closing the session towards pointing you to additional resources where you could get your questions answered. So first, we have the Employee Center Community Product Hub. All our employee center related resources like features and capabilities, release blogs, implementation guides, event details, recordings of previous academy sessions, everything is available on this community product hub. The link and the QR code is there on the screen. Please feel free to explore this. Other than that, we have quite a lot of events ongoing with our employee center product. So the first is Employee Center Academy. We do it every third Wednesday of month, and the link is there. The next session is upcoming on 17th of April. Other than that, we have two office hours ongoing. The first is Employee Center Deployment Office Hour. So all your general deployment related queries, whether it's for Employee Center or Employee Center Pro, you could raise it in this Employee Center Deployment Office Hours. We do it every last Tuesday of a month. We have just recently concluded the March one. The April one is due on 30th of April. Then the employee communication is specifically for our employee communication related queries. That's an Employee Center Pro capability. So we do it every first Thursday. The next session is coming up pretty soon on 4th of April. Apart from that, we do have quarterly roadmap webinars. We have recently concluded our Q1 roadmap webinars. The next one are due on June 12th and 13th. You could see the registration links here. And the registration link for the June 12th and 13th would be up on this link pretty soon. Then our very new series is customer show and tell webinars. We have already concluded two sessions in this series, and the next one are up on June 18th and June 26th. This is the place where we show spotlight on one of our very brilliant or awesome deployment stories. The last one was talking about Best Buy's deployment journey. So please feel free to enroll yourself or register yourself for any of these events. It was pleasure having you all here. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this session was helpful, and see you later again. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.